Hi, my name is Danielle Roos, and I'm directing Two Gentlemen of Verona. When I was at Northwestern, that was my first time that I really thought about directing Shakespeare. I think I had always thought that Shakespeare was for people that had studied it their whole lives, or had this deep relationship with the works. And then while I was in graduate school at Northwestern, I started to realize, I've actually always loved Shakespeare. I read Shakespeare in my bedroom as a teenager because I was just interested in some really hard theater reading. And so I started to develop a little bit more of an interest in the work. And then one of my professors at Northwestern, Shauna Cooper, she is a big Shakespeare director. She's directed all over the world. And so I took a class with her. And through that, I started to develop what I felt like was an actual point of view on the play Julius Caesar. And I got really excited about it. And so pitched that for my final production at Northwestern. And she was able to mentor me and teach me some of the things that I wouldn't have known if I was just putting on a Shakespeare play all alone. And so I developed confidence in it and just a love of working on these kinds of texts. And it was such a reminder for me that all of Shakespeare they're just people. They're just people who want things like any other play. The words are slightly different than what we speak in modern day. And it was such a fun journey being able to work with Shauna and then the actors on that campus. And we had other professors that were able to step in and help with dialect coaching and things like that. And it was just a joy of a process. And that's why I really realized I love doing classics and I love this kind of work and getting to speak about something, use a text that has been around for so many years and put it up in a new way for a modern audience and get to have kind of a new conversation with our more modern audiences about the story that's been around forever. Now that I teach directing and I teach some acting as well at the university level, and I teach undergrads but also graduate students, it's really forced me to get really clear on what I think the priorities of a good director are, and to kind of teach it in the order that I do direct. So I always start with a really, multiple close reads of the text, and then extensive text analysis. And so what teaching directing has allowed me to do is really get clear on the things that I think are important for every director, so that I can teach them. But then it's also a reminder to me, when I came to campus here to start directing, I was I got to do the things that I teach my students to do. I have to be really prepared, and I have to do my analysis. And so it's such a cool reminder of all the things that I teach every day at Texas State University are all so important for the actual work of being a director. It's not just something I teach and then don't do myself. I have to do all of it myself to make sure it's a successful production. And it's all about preparation. So the analysis you do in advance, and then you leave room in the room to work with whatever the actors are bringing to the table. So we've had this opportunity here to work with some incredible actors, both equity level, university level, interns. So they're really spanning a big experience level, but all of them are bringing in something that's really exciting to all of the preparation that I've done. And so their work combined with my work just makes this process such a joy. And it's just a reminder to me of the things that I do teach are real. they're all relevant. And getting to teach graduate and undergrad directors, so people who are at different levels in their careers, has been really exciting too, because this is as I've grown in my career, I'm able to talk to them at different levels as well. I think getting to assist under Susan Booth and Rob Ashford while I was at the Goodman just reminded me that these are directors who are farther along in their career. They have this incredible body of work that they've been able to direct and be a part of, but it's not like they have some magic formula that no one else could understand. It's the fact that they have just put in the work, and they've had opportunities and experience, and so they've learned a lot from all of those productions, but it's still the things that they prioritize are the things that I think we should all prioritize. So it's, having good collaborators in the room, like good people to, like, whether you cast them or you bring them in as choreographers, as writers, as musicians. So being able to work with people that make the process enjoyable and better. And then the other thing that I saw from them is being prepared every day. It's like, I sound like a broken record when I talk about preparation, like both in the classes I teach, but also, in getting to observe these kinds of people. But they showed up every day. They knew what their priorities were for that day, what they needed to try to accomplish. So it's a matter of being ready to work, using every single minute of that time. And then knowing that their collaborators were in the room to like help support the vision that they had for that process, and that they could really create the piece that play needed to be, or that musical needed to be. So it was not magic. It was just getting to watch someone who has, in each case, getting to watch someone with so much experience, and then experience gives you confidence too, because you've already dealt with so many past issues and past problems, and so you have a level of understanding of how to meet each new challenge, and that's, I think, the big difference in those situations. So we can all get there. I think it's just they do it really gracefully and really elegantly, of course, but it's not like they know something about theater that no one else could ever learn. So that was inspiring to me. When I first read Two Gentlemen of Verona, the thing that really stuck out to me was that it's a play about second chances. So we see a story of a community of young people and adults who have the space. The young people have the space to make mistakes and still come back from them. So that's been my point of view on the production as I've directed it, is that I want to tell a story about people who are able to grow and learn from the things that they messed up on when they were younger, and still go on to be better people because of the experiences that they had, both good and bad. And so in this play, we see young people of all sorts. We see the outlaws, who are people that have made mistakes in their youth, and we see the young lovers making variety of mistakes. And so we get kind of this whole spread of community of people that are learning and growing and becoming better people by the end of the play than they were, even a few pages before the very end of the play. And so that's been really exciting for me, and I've wanted to, it's been wonderful to live in that world so far in the last couple weeks, and I was excited to bring that to the stage. I think a lot of young people today don't have the space to make mistakes and grow from them in the way that I wish you all did. I wish they did, because of things like social media and the internet, where like everything you do lives forever, it feels like. Yeah, so there's an opportunity, I think, in this story to be reminded of the importance of a community that, like, both as an adult, that gives space to young people to grow and change and, figure out who they are and what kind of version of themselves they want to be when they get older. So it's a good lesson for the adults, but also for the young people, which we have a lot of in this play, to kind of live in that fantasy world of they can do something, mess it up, and still find forgiveness from one another. So this play for me is a lot about forgiveness and being able to forgive one's friend, one's love interest, one's child. Some of the parents in this play have to forgive their children. And so it's just a really beautiful story of growth and forgiveness and second chances that it's been a joy to work on so far. So I think every play, every story is about characters who want something and need something, and they need it today, they need it now, or they can't go on without it. And I think that's the same whether it's a comedy or a tragedy. Like I think all these are about people, all these plays are about people who need something from someone else, and they need something to change in their lives, and they're trying to make that happen on stage in front of us. And so I think there's a freedom of being able to play real needs and wants and desires, whether it's a humorous version of events or a like really sad, darker story. And so we're able to, in this room, find the comedy and the humor as they find their way to what they want and what they're asking for. But even in this play and in Two Gentlemen of Verona, we have elements of, darker betrayal and darkness and it's not just fun and light and joy. We have a lot of joy, but there are some like real deep concerns that these characters have and questions that they have about their own lives and the people that they're becoming. So I think Shakespeare has written us these characters who are more than just one thing. No person is just one thing and no character is just one thing. They're complex. They have many different desires from page to page, but then we get to explore that throughout the play and really see kind of where they end up at the end. And for all of them, it's a different place than I think the characters themselves would have thought they would be at the beginning. They all go through a journey and end somewhere that I think would surprise themselves. And that's what Shakespeare gave us in this play. Even though it's one of his, it's potentially one of his first plays, and it's an early blueprint to a lot of the things that we see in his later comedies and later plays. We see elements of those storytelling elements in this play already being developed. And so that's been really fun to work on. But even though this was like one of his early works, it's still such a beautiful and I think elegant story of growth and discovery for all the characters in this play. I think the most valuable thing that we have in the room is the ensemble of actors that we have. We have actors who have been here for multiple seasons at ISF, and then we have actors who this is their very first season. And being able to work with all these different experience levels has been so fun. And that's added to this feeling of like an ensemble of actors. And the fact that these are the same actors in all three of the shows across the season this summer is, I think, also really special and unique. So they've bonded, and that's the work that we're able to build on, is all the stuff that they're already doing. And in our show, we're using, some physical comedy, there's a lot of word play in this play, in Two Gentlemen, and then there's the fun elements, like we have a dog, and we have, some dance at the very end that I've added in to, have like a slightly different ending, or just an addition to the ending. And so, I think we're kind of using a little bit of all the comedic elements and embracing the wordplay. There's a lot of double meanings to the things that Shakespeare writes, especially with the clown characters and some of the like servant characters in this play. But then we're finding some like physical things to play with as well, and having just a great time building that whole vocabulary. We hope you come see Two Gentlemen of Verona this summer. Can't wait to be out in the elements with you.